Hey everyone. I'm just making a video. I want to speak about dating. So I am single. I'm a single woman and I I'm having a hard time dating. Um yeah, I do know how to look good. I know how to dress up. I mean, cuz right now I got my glasses on and I'm kind of sweaty. But I do know how to dress up. I know how to look good. And I really don't think I'm ugly, but I've just I don't know what I know the type of men I like, but I just would prefer a certain man. And I'm not picky. I mean, but I do want a man that has something going for him. Um, and I'm not saying I want a rich man, but I want a man that has something, a job, a career, or dreams. Um, right now I don't really care about the race of a man. I'm not like now, to be honest, I wished back in the day I would have been more open to other races of men. Like, and I really never had a problem dating like white men or anything like that. But the problem was I was raised in an area that was mostly black. And and I'm from Alabama. So you don't see a lot of interracial, relationships, especially back then. You may see it more now, but back then, and when you did see it back then, it was mostly like black men and white women, and you were basically told like black men um only want black. Well, they don't only want black men, but black men are the only men that will want a black woman. So but you basically we were told that white men and other races of men don't want black women. So that's just the thing that was being told us back then. So I kind of followed that, and another thing, I went to a school that was about 95% black. So and I really didn't date anybody in my school that I can remember. I did date a guy when I was in middle school, but in high school I had guys that I talked to on the phone with, but I didn't really have any relationships. I didn't really have a boyfriend in high school. So, but I really okay, so the age I am now, I'm 46 years old. My biggest regret is that as a teen, I didn't know. I should have I should have just dated a man or dated guys who I felt I had a future with, who had things going for them. But when you're like 16 years old or 17, you don't have nobody telling you this stuff. Like, we didn't have TikTok, we didn't have YouTube. So we basically had to go with by what the women around us told us or what we heard from them. And a lot of them, they were like, they were married, but they were married to cheaters, to liars. The husband had outside children while in the marriage. And this is where we got our experience from, Yeah. So we didn't have TikTok. So to be honest, I just think women, the young generation, they are so lucky to have like TikTok, and they have like Shira, and other women telling them, and some men telling them, this is who you need to date, this is what you need to look for, this is what you need to do, because we didn't have that. So we just had to go by what we thought was right. But if I could go back, I'm 46 years old, if I could go back to when I was like 17 or just a teenager, and if I knew what I know now back then, or if I had the information back then that I have now, I would have did things so differently back then. I wouldn't. There's a lot of things that I settle for, and them type of men that, or the guys that I like, I wouldn't even give them a second look. And I just felt like I feel like the girls, the women, young women nowadays, they have it so much easier. But the only thing they have to do is take the advice that older women give them online. You, like, to any young women watching this, do not, please, do not let a man use you. Do not become his baby mama. I don't care. Do not try to get this, because it's not going to work out. If you have a baby by a man at 16 years old, you still going to be looking at his face 20, 25, 30 years from now. You're not going to stop looking at him when the child turns 18. You still going to have to look at him. I mean, you don't waste your youth having a baby by a man or a boy or whatever. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Now, if you want to date, I feel like you should date younger. Date when you're younger, but make sure you get a good guy. That's one thing I wish I would have had a women telling me when I was young. But a lot of these women back then, I hate to say it, but a lot of them is what people call now, they call them pick-me's. A lot of them was pick-me's back then. It was like, no, how it goes, any man is better than no man. Any man is better than no man. So this is how a lot of women was raised. That's how we was taught, basically, just deal with anything. And I just, like, if I could go back to 15 or 16, I would get a boy who had ambitions. I would get somebody that I was attracted to, but I'd get somebody, and I'm not saying 16, I wouldn't be dating no 30-year-old. I mean, I know some people did. That's way, way too, to me, at 16 and 30 was old. So I would have got a boy who had goals. I probably would have kind of talked to different boys, like, what you want, what you looking for. But so, I probably would have been more into, like, trying to think about marriage at a younger age, because at the age I am now, I'm 46, and it's kind of hard being 46 trying to date, because a lot of men are already married. Well, a lot of men are married, a lot of women are married, and then you have the men that are out there chasing behind 20-year-olds, and you got some that may be single, chasing behind 20-year-olds, and some of them don't want to grow up. It's just a bunch of stuff out here. So, I mean, if I could go back, I would try to get at 17, 18, around that age, I would try to get a boy who I was interested in, who I feel like was going somewhere in life. But I didn't have nobody to teach me that. I didn't have nobody to say, look, this is what you should look for. This is what you need to do. This is, this guy, he's nice. He has this going for him. He has that. I really wasn't taught anything. And so if I could, I would just tell younger women, listen to these women that are online. Trust me. And I'm not saying you got to take their advice, 100% of their advice, but consider it. And the younger women, don't waste your time with these 40-year-old men that are still trying to chase their youth. If you're 19, do not waste your time on 40-year-old men, because they're wasting your time, really. They are wasting your time. These the type of men, they are always going to chase 20-year-olds, and when you get 35, he's going to try to replace you with another 20-year-old. And, you just get someone who wants something in life. Don't get some 40-year-old who's still trying to be 25, and get a man your age. I mean, he don't have to be the exact same age. He could be a few years older, but get someone who is career driven, who has dreams, goals for the future. Like, if you go to college, even if you go to a community college, university, go there and try to meet guys there, Try to meet guys there. If you're in high school, try to meet a nice guy there who has goals. You don't have to be with a dude on a football field, on a football team. Get somebody that's just who's ambitious, who knows where he want to be 10 years from now or 15 years from now. That's what I wish I would have done. I wish I would have just had someone at 16 and say, well, Constance, this is what you need to do. This is the type of man you should look for, somebody. And me, I would have taken the advice because I didn't have nobody else to tell me anything. I didn't have anybody to give me advice. So if a woman would have came to me and said, this is what you should look for, this is what, I would have gladly listened, and I probably would have been in a different situation now than I am now. But I had my children young. I have 2 kids. They're in their 20s, and so I had my daughter at 18, my son at 20, and so I just feel like my situation would have been a whole lot better if I would have had someone like the women on YouTube, the women on TikTok and Facebook that's trying to tell you this is what you should do. And some of the women, they may come out as harsh, but not all of them, but I just feel like some can be kind of harsh, but some just more passionate than others. They might have passion, all of them passionate, but some just, express in a different way. But whatever you do, don't have a baby by a man. While you're young, or, like, you're not married. But if you want to have a baby at 35, then you're full grown. I'm talking about when you're young. So if you want to have one at 35 and be a single mom, that's, do you. But when you're young, don't waste your youth raising a baby by a man that probably won't really take care of it. You got to call him and beg him for a pack of diapers, or beg him to pay for daycare and all that other stuff. Don't waste your time doing that. Don't follow these celebrities that are having children, because those women, they're young, but they have money. So they can hire the nannies, they can buy all the diapers and afford all the whatever. But if you're just a regular person and working at a regular job, you're going to be struggling with this child. You may have help, but, everybody wants the dad to be involved, at least in most cases. That's the idea, to have the father involved, not to have your child being taken care of by your mom and your dad and your sister and all that. So just don't waste your life. Don't waste your life popping out a baby for a man that you got to beg him for $40 for milk or a pack of diapers. So I know, like, when I started this video, I really didn't know what really talk about, but I just feel like I hate seeing young women struggling, because when you're young, you have your whole life ahead of you. And don't waste it. Don't waste your youth popping out babies for men that don't care for you. Don't waste your life popping out a bunch of babies. If you're married, it's different. If you're married, you get married at 19, 20, whatever. I mean, hey, there are some people get married young, and I don't see anything wrong with it personally. But if you're single, don't just waste your time just popping out a kid. You have one at 20, another one at 22, another one at 25 by a different man. No, don't waste your youth giving men babies that they don't want to take care of half the time. So that's all I want to say. I'm not the best speaker. I'm just being honest. I'm not the best speaker, but I just try to think of stuff to say, to get off my chest. And like, another thing, there's all races of men. You don't have to just wait and be with a black man. You can date all type of men. Don't be like my generation. When we were coming up, we were only have to be with a black man, and a lot of black men was like, they didn't come out and say, we don't want you. But it was in the air. They didn't have to directly say it, but it was in the air. You heard it in songs. You heard it just hearing guys talk around the school. Like, I saw this white girl. Saw this white girl this game last night. She did. That type of stuff. They were putting white girls on pedestals. They didn't really have to. You could just overhear them talk about it. They never really came directly in your ear and say it, but you can hear it in songs. Like, you go back, hear songs from the 80s of rappers talking about, yeah, we like the white girl, or we like the red bone, blah, blah, blah. They never really put black women on pedestals. We have always put them on pedestals. And I'm not saying don't date black men. You date who you want to date. I'm just saying don't be just stuck on black men. There are men, all different races of men all over. Just don't limit yourself.